Here we are. Hello, everybody. Sorry for being a little late today. If you must know, my cell phone dongle didn't work, so I couldn't get a charged phone in time. But here we are on the Trump Tyranny tracker for Thursday, July the 3rd, on a big breaking news day. Olga Lautman, how are you doing today?
I am here trying to keep up with the news that is just horrible on every front.
Yeah, it really is very, very difficult to see, especially what's going on in Ukraine. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but we should talk about what's going on right now on Capitol Hill, where it looks like they're about to pass or very close to passing the big, beautiful bill, or whatever they have decided to call it. Let's call it the Megabill, the ugliest bill in the world, the worst bill ever, you name it.
The
This
bill
is
for billionaires. Yeah,
billionaire bill is a good one. They have,
billionaire bill.
I don't know if you watched some of Hakeem Jeffrey's rousing 8 hours of speech that he gave there. It was very impressive, especially towards the end. I can't believe he was able to do that for a long period of time. But none of that oratory is going to change the reality of what's being passed today. I mean, what is being passed today is probably the most draconian measure ever passed by any house in American history. And it looks like they're going full steam ahead, and this thing could be signed by tomorrow by the president.
I mean, it's really disgusting, and I really hope people wake up to this. I mean, and I hope they start holding their, representatives accountable. And thank you. My migraine, it's still in the background. It's but it's a drop
It's,
better. It's not fully
it's the
gone.
big ugly migraine related to the big bill, probably.
Yeah. to
I'm
to
glad you're
the
better,
bill,
though.
to Ukraine, to everything.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, look, people really need to start holding, because Trump is one person. It is the Republican Party who is doing this, enabling him, enabling this attack on America, enabling this attack on all the vulnerable children. I mean, this is going to affect everyone, from the most vulnerable to children to disabled to senior citizens. And they're lying to people's face. So, I hope that at a point, it comes to a point that they are held responsible for what they are doing. Because, I mean, for big cities, they will fare a drop better because big cities, have more in their budget. But I mean, imagine being in a town somewhere, where there's one hospital that will close,
Hmm.
there's one social security office that will close. I mean, it's horrible. And then on top of it, they're turning America into a police state. This bill has a bigger budget than I think for the military. So,
Yeah, 140 billion going to just the border, and which really means ICE. There's also, the silver lining you point to is something that Hakeem Jeffrey spoke about a lot. He spoke about people being fed up with Project 2025, and spoke about Project 2026 by invoking what happened in 1775 and 1776. It's a good line, but it certainly is what they're going to do in the next year. I mean, they've got now until the midterms to Democrats have until the midterms to convince Americans that everything in this bill is as bad as it is, and they'll be able to see it. And that is very similar to the last time they were in this position with Donald Trump, and maybe that'll give them a victory in the midterms.
yeah. And I just actually did a show earlier with Julie, our Thursday show. She made a very good point that these Republicans are so corrupt and shady that they scheduled many of the changes to begin in 2027.
They did, yeah.
So I mean, here you have, them enacting this, but that it's not going to hit people until right after midterms. So I
Right.
mean, that just shows you again how calculating they are and how shady they are, and how people really need to start pushing back against this, because they don't have anyone's interest in mind, and half of the people voting have bashed this bill, have bashed, increasing our how you call it, debt. And now they're all in line to serve one man. I mean, this is all to serve one man. This is like the United Russia Party.
Speaking of the United Russia Party, let's move to what's going on in Ukraine, where there's been another assault on Kyiv and other parts of Ukraine overnight by Russia, just as the Pentagon has suspended shipments of Patriot missiles, precision-guided artillery, Hellfire missiles, and howitzer ammunition to Ukraine. Now, the Pentagon says it's concerned about depleted U.S. stockpiles according to Pentagon Policy Chief Elbridge Colby. He says the move gives Trump robust options for future support, aligning with the goal of ending the conflict, whatever those words might mean. It sounds like surrender to me. Now, there is a call coming, a scheduled call between Trump and Putin.
It
Uh,
happened already.
oh, it did happen, and I don't know if you have any reporting on that, but it's
Mhm.
certainly, what we're seeing now is the United States military basically not fulfilling the congressionally mandated, approved military aid to Ukraine.
Yeah, we went through this yesterday, and I mean, I'm devastated and infuriated. I mean, I am out of words. This is a complete betrayal, and this is the United States now assisting Russia in its genocide in Ukraine. They are doing everything to make sure that Ukraine is left without military weapons. These weapons are sitting in Poland. I mean, this was a very calculated move. These weapons have been approved by Biden. This was the last batch that he, had approved last year, that was supposed to go out. And I mean, this is just them doing everything to try to force Ukraine to surrender. Again, I keep saying that this cannot happen because if Ukraine falls, Europe understands and other NATO countries are next. Russia has increased their surveillance and testing of NATO. Germany last week had to scramble fighter jets because Russia was breaching airspace in the Baltics. The Russia keeps testing the response time, keeps looking, surveilling positions, NATO positions. So, this will expand to a full blown European war. And as far as the last thing I'll say on what's happening in Ukraine in the month of June, Russia sent, imagine this, over 4,400 drones. 4,400 plus hundreds
Unbelievable.
of ballistic missiles. I mean, day and night there are terrorist attacks across the whole country, and Russia's strategically hitting buildings as people are sleeping. And the most, I think, really that brought me to tears is that Ukrainians are now going to sleep with whistles around their neck in the case a missile strikes their building and they're buried in rubble and manage to survive, that they can alert people that they're alive. I mean, this is what is happening, and the United States has chosen the side of a terrorist regime. And to get to the call, Putin and Trump had their call this morning. Complete bullshit. Everything is, yeah. Putin stringing Trump along. Yeah, we'll continue negotiating. There's nothing to negotiate. Russia can leave, go across the borders back to their country. Ukraine is a sovereign country. So, I mean, the whole thing with the repeat of what's been happening. But what struck me, that really, really struck me, was that out of all of this happening, I mean, every single night, buildings being hit, people dying. Out of all of this, that on the Russian side, they reported that Trump and Putin discussed increasing their partnerships in the energy and space sector. So this is what the call was about. It wasn't about Ukraine. It wasn't about anything else. It was what kind of deals, where is my payoff? How much are you giving me to make sure that Ukraine, is suffocated to, and can fight back. So this was what the call was. This
That's
has always been this, and that's that.
It certainly makes it clear that these two are not in any way not friends and allies anymore. I mean, this clearly is Putin and Trump still doing Putin and Trump, and there's no daylight between them as he's stopping these missiles and these anti missile defense systems from being deployed there. He's basically helping Putin prosecute a war against
Absolutely.
Ukraine. He's killing
A
people.
genocidal war.
Yeah, he's killing people that are on our side or supposed to be on the side of freedom, on the side of democracy. And he is busy right now denying them the weapons to defend themselves against the drones that are attacking them. It is illegal, firstly, and disgraceful. I mean, this has been a shipment that was approved by Congress that was led by the Republican Party, and at the time, and should be respected. That's the law. This was promised in a deal with Ukraine. We can't be the country that goes around the world and doesn't deliver on our deals. I mean, this is the kind of reputation Donald Trump is giving the United States by abandoning our allies when they need it the most. And it's just tragedy beyond tragedy. This could cost Ukraine, and this kind of denial of weapons, denial of assistance is exactly the kind of thing that could help our sworn enemy, our biggest adversary in the world, destroy a free and democratic country that we helped set up. It's just beyond belief.
And yeah, and just to add, I mean, look, it's so easy to put everything on Trump, and I always say Trump, Trump, Trump. But this is the Republican Party. Trump alone, if he was one man, he wouldn't be able to do this. And all these so-called Republican, friends of Ukraine who traveled there, the Lindsey Grahams, who, by the way, Russia threatened to assassinate, very publicly. And all the, Mike Lawler and all of them. Oh, we love Ukraine, and what's his name, McCall.
Mm.
You had a whole swath of Republicans, who pretend to care about Ukraine. They are silent. So Trump alone, if he did this, it wouldn't go anywhere if the Congress stepped in. So clearly, this is the whole Republican Party. They have betrayed Europe. They have, betrayed Ukraine, and it's going through a genocide. They know exactly what Russia is doing. They know the tens of thousands of children Russia kidnapped from Ukraine. They know Russia's tactic. They know that Russia was killing our soldiers in Afghanistan, handing out bounties as Trump was negotiating with the Taliban. They know all of this. They know Russia is supplying Iran with nuclear materials. They know this. They know that Iran has its nuclear program because of Russia, because Russian scientists and specialists are still there. And they choose to follow one man and betray all the values of America. And Trump is taking us all down such a dark path with concentration camps being set up on U.S., turning the U.S. into a police state, threatening to denaturalize people. I mean, everything un-American, undemocratic he's doing, and they are standing by him right now, very happy to go and pass a bill that they know is going to destroy the lives of their constituents. So
And
this
leading
is
us
the
into World War
Republican
III. I mean,
Party.
this is the path to World War III. Allowing Putin's success in Ukraine is allowing him to continue his war in other NATO countries. This is how we get to World War III. It is not just the denial of weapons. It's a path to global conflict that none of us
They know.
want. And they
And they
know.
know.
And they know it is.
Mike Lawler sat there. I dealt with his office. Oh, his wife is from Moldova, and he understands the seriousness of this, because if Ukraine falls, Moldova. Where is he today? Not talking about Ukraine.
Yeah, well, and they just passed the bill. It looks like, I think it's passed. Maybe it's 216 to 214. I'm not sure that's the final tally yet. Moving to domestic authoritarian tactics, the Justice Department is weighing criminal charges against state and local election officials it deems negligent in securing voting systems. Despite no evidence of actual wrongdoing, federal prosecutors are already pressuring states like Wisconsin and Colorado for detailing election data, citing a March executive order to review systems and block non-citizen access. This represents a significant escalation. Tell us what's going on here.
So basically, now you have Trump in power, and he wants to secure his power. And after spending months of dismantling election security systems, now they are threatening to prosecute people who actually protect elections in their state and who don't bend to the will. Like when Trump asked, whatever his name, the Georgia Secretary Raffensperger, in 2020, find me X amount of votes because this is what I'm sure to win Georgia. Now with this order, they can go and arrest a Raffensperger and say, well, he didn't accomplish this and whatnot. So now they are crossing past dismantling election systems to now threatening to arrest officials and the election workers and, security in the state. So here
I'm
we
really
are.
concerned about 2026's elections, even though, Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats might think they've got a winning issue here, and they probably do. I don't think we can be sure that those elections are going to be free and fair unless we have like really
We need
overwhelming numbers.
We need overwhelming numbers because, with I've followed elections in Eastern Europe, non-elections, and in a lot of countries, if you have overwhelming numbers,
Yeah.
it is hard to rig the system. So we really need overwhelming numbers to make sure to send these, Republicans a message. And particularly in swing states. Like I keep saying, Mike Lawler, he's a New York congressman in a swing state. He barely won by a few points, his district. These are the people we need to focus heavily on swing districts and make sure everyone turns out. Yes,
Next
we do
story.
need to band
We,
together.
we absolutely do. Now, next story, President Trump is escalating his war on press freedom. He's suggesting he could force journalists to reveal their sources behind leaked intelligence showing U.S. airstrikes on Iran only delayed rather than destroyed or obliterated Iran's nuclear program. Trump blamed Democrats for the leak and vowed prosecutions, specifically calling for reporters to disclose sources tied to national security leaks. This is an age-old issue. Lots of presidents have tried to do similar things, but in this case, this is an authoritarian president really pushing his extremism here in terms of press freedom.
Exactly. And look, this is press freedom. He's been attacking press. He's using lawfare. He's using the Department of Justice. He's using FCC, to go after media. And I wish Democrats, how Republicans are trained like puppets to scream Second Amendment rights. I wish Democrats can get on this page and scream First Amendment rights nonstop from morning to night. And First Amendment actually comes before Second Amendment, so I think it's slightly. Oh, they passed it. That's it. So it comes. I just got a breaking news alert.
Yeah. Yeah, it's past
Congratulations,
2017 to
America.
2014. Right.
So I think, Democrats, again, they need to wake up. They really need to wake up the leadership, and they really need to understand how serious this assault is. And that's it, because I mean, the First Amendment is what differentiates US from every other country. We have very strong First Amendment rights. As disgusting as it is to hear white supremacists, spew Nazi shit, the bottom line is it is their right to do it. And this is what this country has always stood for. And we need to reclaim this, First Amendment, because if not, if we sleep on this, you will see media capitulating, shutting
You
down,
already are.
journalists being arrested. He threatened, Natasha Bertrand from CNN, who did accurate reporting. She reported, I mean, clearly it's accurate if now they want to investigate who leaked this information after telling us that that report was fake and that the assessment said that Trump obliterated, the Iranian facilities. So which one is it? And then he went after Natasha Bertrand, who broke the story, practically, telling CNN to fire her and practically threatening criminal charges against her. We need to push back on this because this is very, very serious. And this is all of our rights. I mean, once they shut down the First Amendment, this is a problem for everyone.
There's a really interesting note here by Carol Workman on the chat saying 3 special federal House election races are coming up. The 3 could flip the House. I didn't know there were 3 coming up. That's interesting.
Yeah.
People should really focus on those. That's a good point.
In September and I believe November. Texas is November because we had 3 people who died in office since January. So we have 2 in September, the special elections. One, I believe, is in November.
That is where we have to
Texas.
leave it today for the Trump Tyranny Tracker. It's a little shorter than normal, and my fault on that. But we'll be back normal time tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Or are we?
Oh, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's July 4th. I'm sorry. We're not going to be here tomorrow. Maybe we'll be here tomorrow. If there's some breaking news, we might be here, but probably not on the Trump Tyranny Tracker. Because everyone needs a July 4th. Have a great July 4th weekend, everybody. It's certainly we're all needing this break, and it's a real time to reflect on where we are in America and where we're going. Check out the Trump Tyranny Tracker and Unmasking Russia. Subscribe to Olga Lautman's incredible work and support her work with paid subscriptions.
And yours too.
And you can check out my work at narrative.org, NARATIV.org. I'll be back in 30 minutes with Dean Blundell and the 5 Stack. We'll see you then. Thanks. Have a great day, everyone, and good weekend.
Bye.